on November 28th, 2022. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. If all who are able will please stand. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a presentation line item, but there's nothing listed under it.
Is that the one?
Is there a secret presentation?
Which
I
one?
would never admit to a secret presentation with the press.
Oh, it moved down to.
We moved it to the workshop at the end of the meeting.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay, all
Sorry.
right, just wanted to be sure. Okay, public comments. This is an opportunity for the public to speak on any non-agenda item for up to 3 minutes. Agenda item will only be discussed at its appropriate time, and public hearing items can only be discussed during the public hearing. Are there any public comments this evening? Are there any online?
No.
Okay, hearing none, we will close the public comment section. Moving on to new business. Letter A, highest best use study of the Highway 87 property. I believe Lori is presenting that. No?
I'll present it, but
Okay,
Lori has information to add to it.
okay, got it.
Back in. How long we did this? Back in 2000. Out of Elon purchased about 72 plus or minus acres out on 87. Kind of across from where the high school is, a little bit further north on the opposite side of the road. And we've held that land for the past 20 plus years. At the time, there was some discussion about recreation uses. Nothing has ever moved forward with it in a formal manner. There's been some drawings, sketches done in the past, but nothing from a formal standpoint. Last year, during budget process, the board was interested in making progress with this parcel. What we want it to be when it grows up, kind of a thing. We included some money in the budget to hire a consultant to take a look at the property, give us an idea of what it could be used for, what kind of values could be generated from it. The term highest and best use. So we hired Patterson Appraisals. They went through the study, provided us with the information. It's in your packet. And from a highest and best use standpoint, his recommendation is we sell it. Might be used for housing. Sewer can be acquired. Determine whether it's worth 900,000 or 600,000. That's a purely economic recommendation. Yeah, highest to best use. Looking at it in terms of recreation, we didn't ask him to do that because one, there'd be no taxable value to it as recreation. So there was no value associated with it. But that is certainly something that is on the table, has been on the table, and that should be part of the discussion as to whether there are valuable uses to the community and raising tax revenue. So in your packet, I'd asked department heads to weigh in. Give me some feedback that we can take to the board. You have comments from Hills Chambers, Recreation Parks, Lori Oakley from Planning Department. What I neglected to include was comments from our fire chief. Those out, Lori has those this evening as well. And like I said, I will key you in on the secret. I think the 3 department heads who are here tonight, all of them recommend retain it, and that this can become a valuable resource to the community in terms of natural recreation areas, trails, bike trails, mountain bike trails, whether it's built facilities, ball fields, baseball, multi-purpose, pickleball, you name it. as we were talking last week during our retreat about some of the facility needs that the community will be experiencing over the next 5-10 years. And we had to buy land for a police station and had to do something with Public Works. Is that suitable where it is? Dawned on me, we have 74 acres out on 87, 2 acres. That maybe there's an opportunity there for the community to make an investment facility. It's not the best location for some things today. But those are what it will look like 20 years as Elon continues to grow toward the north. What is out of town now, years might be well within town. So food for thought. I know, like I said, Lori and Phyllis are both here tonight with, I think, some information they would like to give you. And then we can have that discussion about proceed.
Hello, everyone. So when the manager sent us this email, I was like, this is my favorite assignment since I'm third working here. So when we got the email, I immediately reached out to Phyllis. And I said, let's get a park, and she was on board. And I didn't realize that intentionally this property was purchased years ago, with the park in mind. So I know that you have that nice appraisal document in front of you that says residential or development. So I would request that you consider a community park. I'm not going to go through everything in my memo. Burlington, City of Burlington Water does run along 87, which would be available to tap in. With the park, you probably would need some type of small restroom facility, which could be accommodated with a septic system. If you decide not to tap into Burlington's water, you could use a well. I came from a rural county that had parks everywhere, all the wells and septic. So they do work, particularly for the restroom uses there because they're so small. I just think that making this land a park would be a quality investment in Elon. And again, right before I came to Elon, I was working on an almost 300-acre park with the Parks and Rec director there. And I learned a lot about parks. It kind of became a little side passion next to planning. And I didn't realize how much tourism and tourism-based recreation is growing in this state. In fact, in my interview with Rich, he asked me about Elon. And I said, well, my first visit here was when I was hiking the mountain sea trails. With my kids just up the road, and the way to coerce 2 teenagers to go hiking is to take them for ice cream and pizza at Pandora's. And so here I am coming into Elon, spending some money being a Mebane resident. So I'm just really excited, really want the board to consider this. I gave you a bunch of potential uses. I know some of them might seem a little far out there. Like I mentioned, high ropes course and low ropes course, which kind of did a couple of, links, multi-purpose fields. I mean, those are huge right now. And maybe being a resident over on the other side of the county, I see where those fields are rented out to travel leagues and the money that can come in from those. A lot of people don't think of parks as revenue generating income, but it really is. Camping areas, cross-country, running trails, hiking trails, mountain bike. I'm a bit of a mountain biker and a hiker. Again, I'm so passionate about parks. And as I was getting ready to come here tonight, and again, I'm not gonna read everything to you, I was going through Phyllis's Parks and Recreation and Parks Master Plan, and goal number 1, intentionally expand parkland acreage. Got the acreage. You make it a park. Goal number 2, build great parks for Elon. Going to, we could check that box right there. Rule of thumb is that you should have 10 acres of parkland for every 1,000 residents. I'm not sure of the exact acreage right now, but I think we're lacking. So again, I've just asked, consider it, and let's promote Elon as a outdoor experiential tourism destination. Let people come here for that park and enjoy our downtown and everything else. So that's all I have to add. Kind of short and sweet. If you have any questions of me, I'll be glad to answer them. I did include some statistics and some park data in there for you. Again, just having worked on another one, it's kind of fresh on my brain.
I don't know which one of you to ask, but just one brief question. It really looks like it's really close to the high school.
It is.
What would be the significance to that in terms of place where students would go or anything like that?
And Phyllis can fill for your address, so I immediately thought of like features there that would support the high school and the university, like cross-country running trails, things that that high school needs. And I don't know Western Alamance, just because I'm in the Eastern Alamance. But I'm thinking it's probably lacking facilities like that, so you can piggyback and partner with your school system and also build activities there that would not just benefit Elon, but benefit the park that the Elon residents go to. Is there anything you want to add, Phyllis?
Over the years, I've been asked by some of the coaches and various community people if that could be a resource for them to use as a practice field. And we haven't been able to do that to this point. So my thought was if they're wanting to use it for a practice field or in facilities, that perhaps they could help maintain the facilities as a part of the partnership, a collaborative effort.
That's a question, maybe something that's been thought about over the years, but we ever thought about doing some kind of joint partnership with the county where we provide the parcel of land. They've got multiple parks throughout the county, they manage, and that's their business. And obviously, we would be growing ground up, so to speak. That would be something that I would like to know more about, if they have an appetite. Because if you think about the western part of the county, other than that little trail that's down on Garinger Road, it's a nice trail. You know, parks, opportunities like we have in the southern part, Cedar Rock and so forth.
One on Shaliford,
Yeah.
out past the high school and middle
Right.
school, but
That road that's called Garinger Road, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
okay.
And it's a kayak trail there, so in
Yeah.
proximity, they have a presence there now. Yeah, 70 acres is something we don't have here in the corridor of our town, and we never will. So, you know, this is appealing to me. Yeah, we'd like to have more houses, and I'm sure that's why the appraiser, obviously, more houses, more appraisals.
Highest and best value, yes.
That's value, but, you know, I think about 20 years, we've got no tax value off that property. We made an investment. I don't know what we paid for it. So,
$4,000.
493,000.
yeah, so it's appreciated. This thing is something we ought to look at. I think there's more fact finding we need to do.
I have had conversations with the county, but it's been a few years because we haven't been use of the recreation. Land as recreation, but at the time when I talked to them, they are not able to because it's everything they can do with their manpower and their finances to be able to maintain what they have. And now that they've developed Snow Camp and the 197 acres on Charlotte Ford, that cuts them a little thinner, even more.
Still taxpayers, you know, let's go.
But
That live in that area, so that's something.
they'll have a new
We're paying taxes as well, the county.
revenue director, and they'll have new finances, and they do have an ferocious thing for recreation with the county. So
I think a lot's dictated by the board. Commissioners,
that's right. You're correct.
they have an appetite for it.
Where is the park that you're talking about on Shaliford Church?
On Garinger, so if you go,
The Shaliford area, so the
It's
Shaliford.
197 acres.
correct, they just got through
Right
purchasing
past the high school.
more acres.
On the Garinger Mill Road?
Yes,
Oh,
Well,
okay.
There's just a trail there now. There's a walking trail there now.
and the paddle. That's correct.
Kayak.
Put in area.
Campground too.
Yeah, that kind of campground.
I like this fire chief. That, you know, do we have training facilities here in town for firemen train? How do they train? So do like a simulated building increase and so forth.
We have a small training tower that's located on the public.
Yeah, does it meet your needs of your department now?
Well, you know, we talked about trying to expand those. It was actually number 3 on a list of capital improvement, but I took it out so that we would lose focus on our immediate needs.
When you think about it, there's several fire departments in that area, Ospey, Altamont,
Sure.
probably some others. I don't know where they go to train, but that may be an opportunity to, part of that 70 acres where you create a regional training facility where they don't have to go to Graham or wherever else they go.
Well, I actually think that would be very welcome because their closest facility is Graham. It's actually Hall River, which is where the fire training facility is. Most of the time they ask to use ours here in town. So, I'm sure that would be fun. Not just us.
There's a lot of opportunity. 70 acres it's not as much as 300 acres, but from what we have now, dedicated 5 acres, which is that first. And
That was a thought in 2006 and 2007, as we were discussing the possibilities of it being recreation. It was to have a fire and police substation there in addition to a recreation.
the development that's being built now is supposed to have what, 200 homes?
Up to 200.
Up to 200 homes. That's probably what it's from that area, right?
200 multi.
So there's an opportunity for that development, to see the benefit. Recreation opportunities. It's in their own by the town.
I think, too, if you look at the Envision Elon plan, our only growth is to the north. And while today, if you look at the map, it's pretty far away, and you think, man, that's a lot of growth to get to that point. But I think the estimation was that we would double our population by 2040. So if that holds true, that means there's gonna be a lot more development. How many current developments are coming through the planning process right now?
I have one that is supposed to be submitted within the next week, but right now we just have a very small project. The Park Northwest project is coming back for major development. And we have a very small duplex project. But as I've told Rich, I probably tell him every time I get a phone call or I am meeting with developers and national builders, and they are trying desperately to get into Elon. They're trying to get into the Medman, Graham, Burlington, Elon market. And we see it happening in Medman and Graham, and then Burlington, now it's coming here, and they know they need to look north. I mean, I can't tell you how many home builders I've met with. It's been quite a few that they are like, where can I look? I'm like, "Look north." I don't know, I can't give you a pinpoint, but they are trying to find land and assemble land out here. Typically, single family residentials primarily when I'm getting called on. But they're trying to get into this market once they can find some land in the process. But yeah, like you said, if they can find it, I'll have those plans in front of you, but it's to the north is where all of our land.
And if you think about where we've approved projects recently, out Manning, that's that 200 lot subdivisions that's under construction. Park Northwest on Shalford. 400 units, maybe 350, 400 units. That takes us up to, moves us out toward the crossroad that runs right over to 87. So we may not grow up 87 to this property. We may grow around and come from the other direction. That seems more likely to me that we'd actually grow out 87. That's relatively sparsely developed, low density development all the way out on 87, pretty much. Yeah, we'll ever see that being part of Elon. But coming around the other side. How many times have we talked to somebody at the corner of 87 and 87 and Shalford? Yes. There's a small couple parcels there that you keep trying to combine. That's how we'll gain access to this piece.
I think it's a really good use for it. I mean, we've kind of sat on it for such a long time. Mountain biking, you mentioned that, that's a big thing. It's gone. Have more of an area to do that than we do now. And it doesn't mean we can't develop that later on, like you said, down the road, but at this point. Monty said we can look at other options with the county, but it sounds like they may.
Well, and in the cover sheet, I think it is, yeah, in the cover sheet, you also mentioned, and we talked about the retreat, you know, additional options for public works in the future. You have that in here as, you know, maybe there's an opportunity for a portion of it to be public works or fire training station, you know, on that one side or the other, and
Could then open up opportunities in town. As opposed to, you know, further out.
Um, you know, I think that one of my biggest concerns when we did the Parks Master Plan is where do we get the land? So, you know, you're saying in Phyllis's thing, did not hear where. So, you know, I definitely see that point. And I think we are gonna see all of our growth in that direction for the most part. Initially, I didn't really think that like that much land was that large, but it actually just had me look up the size of Springwood, which to me is humongous. And it's only about 6 acres larger. Larger. So, you know, that's, if you think about it in terms of that, I mean, they have a lot of activity. And when they built that park there was nothing there. Look at how it's developed.
It sits right between a high school and a middle school. I mean, and this is where a lot of traffic is spending a lot of time up in that area, so. I
And
mean,
you know,
it's-
even if initially it's more of like a natural recreation, you know, until you do have funding available in the future or a grant or whatever. I think that there is some opportunity for us to use it for what it is currently, then finding what the future of that park could look like.
I'm guessing Phyllis probably knows the answer to this, and I probably do too, but it's that for 20 years. What were the reasons behind nothing happening there? I'm sure there were a variety, but
Typically, infrastructure and other demands took priority over attention and the finances. So, but my proposal in 2006 was to make it disc golf, and I had an organized group that was gonna do that, and we were gonna be the national destination that now Cedar Park is gonna be the third. And they've realized that it is a revenue thing, and it will help with hotel use and restaurants and sporting goods are all gonna love that there's a nationally recognized course, a third one out there, and they're gonna improve others. So my thing is we just haven't had recreation as a priority. But since we've had the community meetings, they've recognized, or they've helped y'all recognize that that is a priority for them. You know, we have our planner here, our fire chief here. That supports it. Y'all will support it.
I recently sat with the cross-country coach of Elon University. And he was saying, man, that property up 87 sure would be a really nice practice facility. If you were to put in some trails. So, you know, I'm sure that he's not the only coach, like you said, who would like to see more things of that nature.
What would we be looking at financially from a budget standpoint? We said, okay, we want to keep this, we want to start developing it. And like Mayor Sharp said, starting with natural stuff. But if we were really want to put all fields and put a road and asphalt, what would be the 10-year plan, an extra $100,000 a year in the rec budget?
Initial plan would be to have a master plan done specifically for that park's best use and what the community has said they wanted and what we can afford and that we can phase it.
So question for Lori, obviously your experience. We were to go that direction, create a master plan. What does that entail? What would that cost?
Well, that's probably gonna be more of a Phyllis question. I will say though that thinking of one close by park that just did that, I'm thinking of Graham Regional, I think is the name of it. And as soon as it opens south of Graham, where all the new residential development is popping up now. But when phase one opened, even my teenagers were like, Mom, they have zip line. That's so cool. Let's go to the park. But they phased that and it's a very large, grandiose park. I love looking at the plans, but like Phyllis said, you want to get a master plan created and phase it in. Do you have an idea of cost? 'Cause normally,
I know we paid 69 for the overall comprehensive plan in 2019.
yeah, I was gonna say.
Seven, right?
Yeah, and that includes the streetscape stuff, so yeah, that would.
That gives you just kind of an idea.
Yeah.
It's very common now to phase parks, particularly with acreage like that. And you can tell them that, hey, you might want to have something for fire training or something, and they take that into account. Engineers and landscape architects involved.
And I'll be honest with you, when you first look at it and you see the numbers, there's the part of you that says, oh, we need this money. We need this money for all the different departments here, but there's also the part that says we're never gonna get the land back if we're rid of the land now without thinking it through thoroughly. And so there are a lot of options that need to be weighed in my mind. And I think you guys have done a great job of showcasing what it could be. For instance, I was recently down south of Charlotte. And they took a small portion of land that they turned into the Charlotte Soccer Academy. Now it's privately run, but it had the help of the city there. And I should remember, is it Fort Mill? I believe so. So that would actually be South Carolina, but it's in that area. The whole point to that story is to say they have hundreds and hundreds of soccer teams that come through there on a regular basis, that stay there for weekends, same things that you were, it's a destination point. Was not prior to that, so.
Yeah, and in the Recreation and Parks Master Plan, it says that the town should acquire 83.9 acres of parkland in the next 10 years. So this certainly gets us in that direction, because that did not take into account that land, right? Like they didn't count that parkland in, okay. Why do I feel like there was something in here that had a recommendation for that land? Wasn't there in the master plan?
I remember it briefly today, I don't remember.
Yeah, anyway, but you know, even a walking trail is something that gets people to a park. So,
And I will say, to get, I think it was Bonnie's question or our question about costs involved. Previous community I worked in, we had land adjacent to, we had about 150 acres adjacent to where our landfill was. And we had a mountain bike track put in. The mountain bike club in the area came and did. We allowed them to come and use the town's land to build this, and it was open to more than just them. But some of those natural trail type things don't necessarily have to be high capital costs. Get people using the land and provide a resource. That could probably be done, could be done next year perhaps. Working with someone to come in and actually do the work for us. Because they like it, because it gives them another place to go, another place to practice. And other people can use it to the extent that that's serviceable as a cross-country trail at the same time. Another user sees a benefit. And we can then take our time. And really, the question is this going to be future parkland? And if so, then we, we stop talking about gee, what can we do with all the money if we sold it, kind of a thing. And start looking at how we proceed with that deliberatively, because the capital costs can get high when you start talking about formal ball fields or formal facilities like that. Where we grade it, and put down turf or, put down, good crop of grass and keep it that way. Lower cost, and you go out and you stripe your fields. Have it as, essentially a multi-purpose field, as opposed to a defined baseball diamond or lacrosse field or something else. You had a group that played handball and they raised the funds to go build a handball court. I was in another community. Yeah, something like that. Mentioned pickleball. Pickleball is huge and growing leaps and bounds. I have no idea if there's a local pickleball group. But if there was, we could work with them, raise the money, build a pickleball facility, or raise part of the money anyway. Those would be some ways we could minimize the capital impact up front. Like I said, if at some point we decide that that's a place for a public works facility or something like that, that helps with some of the oversight. Having people out there, at least during the daytime, so that you would minimize vandals or whatever else that you'd always be concerned about.
I think just to piggyback off of that, I would like to see a plan, but I think the only way this is going to move forward instead of sitting again for another 20 years is if we have something tangible that we go ahead and saying and start doing. And so one of the we talked about during the retreat was a skate park where we could get, possibly sponsorships or something. And it not necessarily has to be a skate park, but something where we do it and get it on the ground. That's the only way that I feel like this is gonna actually move forward. And the only reason why I mentioned a skate park is because it was something that was lower cost. Something that I really feel like we could get some sponsorships for, whether it be from athletics, whether it be from hospitals, we said, but seriously, I mean, hospitals are into health and this is a healthy sport. Not to mention, somewhat dangerous as well.
Customers.
It gives them a set amount of customers that would be coming in as well, but that could be something where we start something on that groundwork and then, go from there. Trying to say, but I think if we're gonna do it, we need to look at it, we need to have a plan, but we need to if we're really serious about doing it, we need to probably have some tangible something within a set time frame. And I don't know if others agree that we need to wait a little bit longer. But I just feel like at some point we need to give ourselves a time frame in which to do something there.
Stephanie, you're correct. And to piggyback off you and Rich, it brought to mind Torque, Triangle Off-Road Cyclists. Said they're in Durham, we will come to Person County and we will build those mountain bike trails, just get them approved. So there are organizations, Durham would probably come here as well. There might be Greensboro contacts, Burlington contacts. So there are organizations that would come help, same as you said, and partner and get those trails built. Yes, absolutely. First step is really to get a master plan though.
But something along a natural trail facility like that, you could do. Because you could modify it later if you needed to.
Could,
You don't want to say, oh, let's do it, and then wipe it out the next year. But
as a planner, I'm gonna say, please get a master plan. Just because
I'm seeing you,
what works best for the land and the.
if you're planting a recreation flag out there by having somebody come in and do something, working on the master plan. At some point, you might have to make modifications to what was already done. That's all I'm saying. And you implement the master plan and different pieces.
It also says in here that a cell tower lease can raise $35,000 to $50,000 a year if a cell tower can be placed in the park, just something from the plan. And if you look at a cell tower map, there's nothing, I mean, there's one in Glen Raven and then there's obviously the one on our water tower. But in that part, there's really, it seems to me, I'm not an expert, that it'd be a good location for one based off of what you see there.
University has one, don't they?
I don't know, do they?
Don't you have a
Do
cell
they have a
tower
cell tower?
on the intramural field back behind the Francis facility? Francis facility?
I think so. Next, bring it down.
When in Berlin, that serves a lot of Elon customers.
Well, I think it's clear that the spirit here is that we want this to be considered parkland, I think.
I mean, I think the objections are gonna be, well, why don't you sell it? But how many homes could you put out there? 50? Well, the unknown is, there's no sewer. And we don't know what the properties would allow. Would that require them to have 2-acre lots in order to have septic systems? And that becomes tax value that we would receive from that, not quite as attractive.
Yeah, he addressed that in his report. I want to say that with water and septic, I think he may have even used the 1/2 acre number as a state minimum. But even at that, that's well over 100 homes. So it's a significant number of homes that could be put out there.
Possibly.
That's his job, so.
But,
I
you
mean,
know,
His job is to appraise property, not to determine engineering.
But if we grow up there, guess what? The people who live up there are gonna want 20 years from now. A park.
The only other thing I see is the accessibility to it too is wonderful. Got 2 roads,
Two access points.
2 huge access points, and I mean, it's really that part's. I kept thinking, we get a couple of other parcels, but
Stop like there.
I know. I mean, there's so many people. So anyway,
I'll add something if that's okay. Just so you know, downtown is very pro park also. This is a park and recreator at heart way back in my career, but one thing I wanted to mention was that there's been a lot of talk about, houses and what money that would bring, but part of the reason people move someplace is for their quality of life. Part of their quality of life is recreating. And I think people are looking for that more and more as they move into these planned communities that have smaller homes. They're looking for those parks and those recreation opportunities. So don't downplay the importance of people looking for that parks and recreation facility when they're planning on, do I choose Elon or not? And we only have 2 parks right now.
well, and this park would give us opportunities that we can't have in the others because it's just of its size. The mountain biking, cross country,
It's a huge asset.
those type of things that you might want to put that here, but you can't because you don't have the size to do it.
Well, the chamber has said numerous times in their reporting and in their meetings, how important it is to have the quality of life available to the businesses that are looking to come here because they want somewhere that their families, people will come that would want to move if the big company comes somewhere else. And it helps them to stay grounded and established and healthy. So overall, businesses agree with that too.
So it sounds to me like everybody is in agreement, although the actual action is necessary because currently it is designated as future parkland.
I don't believe that's the case.
Nothing requires us to do that.
Nothing requires you to do that.
Right.
It's just, whether I'm bringing a proposal to you to sell the property or not. And if the sense is we want to move forward with the recreation plan, then we start looking at how we pull that off. That's all.
Yeah, it sounds like the consensus in that direction.
We will do that.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to letter B, Downtown Advisory Board. I believe that Jill is going to give a short presentation.
My purpose for being here tonight is I have exciting news that we now have a 501c3 Downtown Elon. And I'm here tonight to ask you to dissolve the Downtown Advisory Board because this would actually, the Downtown Elon Inc. would replace that. So the Downtown Advisory Board was established in 2018. And I know that I haven't been a part of that board, but for, 7-8 months now, but they've done a lot of good for our downtown. And I believe it came from that group. Mark, you tell me if I'm wrong about establishing the 501c3 and all the benefits that it can bring. So the Downtown Advisory Board, offered assistance and support for the businesses as well as providing events. So the Downtown Advisory Board began that process just prior to me coming in 21 to become the 501c3. This process is complete. The paperwork is filed. Our final step was to adopt our bylaws for the Downtown Elon Inc., which we did at our past meeting on November 17th. So we now have that in place. And so our operation is ready to roll, and basically it would function the same as it does now. What we'd have, me as the staff person, and the funding from the town would allow us opportunities or grants, which is really important, and some other functions that a 501c3 can do that we can't as a town. So what I'm asking of you tonight is to make a motion to dissolve the Downtown Advisory Board to replace them with the Downtown Elon Inc. Everything would remain the same. The new board members, well, they aren't really new, but they would start a new term in January, and everybody would start with a clean slate with a new term.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Yeah, you had a second. And so what'll happen is you won't be making appointments to this committee anymore. They will be filling their own slots and their own vacancies. It will be independent from the town. We'll provide staff support through Jill, we'll provide budgetary support through her budget. But they'll be independent and doing their own thing.
What is the name of the organization?
Downtown Elon Inc.
Elon.
What does they do?
And the board will be referred to as the Board of the Downtown Elon Inc.
So we would elect our own board members. The function will essentially be the same. We'll come and report to you and all those things, being that it's the town funding that's supporting the organization.
So what if the Downtown Elon Inc. decided that they wanted to do something that the town council wouldn't support? It's town property.
They would have to have approval.
Okay,
If they're using the town property, they would be coming to you to say, hey, we'd like to use the downtown plaza for this event.
And just so you know, I mean, I've worked, both the cities I've worked for, I was with a 501c3. It's essentially it's not gonna feel any different than it does. Unless it was completely independent, had no city funding, and they were just kind of their own entity, but it's their own entity with town support, staffed and funding. So everything will still operate essentially the same.
I have a motion and a second.
Didn't get the second.
A second.
Who is it? That's what I'm.
Oh, I'll second that.
Okay, Randy second.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Letter C, fiscal year 2022 audit contract amendment. Is that you, Rich, or is that Kathy?
I'll take it. Last spring, we entered into a contract with our longtime auditor to complete our audit. And unfortunately, the company that does our financial reporting, the woman who does that work for us passed away just recently, and has put them behind schedule a little bit. Means that the auditor is behind schedule. So she has submitted the paperwork to amend her contract that goes instead of going through November 1st, I think it was, or October 31st, we'll go through January 31st. By approving that contract extension, that then gets turned over to the state for learning that will be late on our audit. She doesn't think it's gonna take that long, but that just gives flexibility. The financial report so she can do the audit. So no change in funding, the pricing is still the same as what we signed off on last spring.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second? Any questions, discussion?
So really, we have no options.
We really don't.
Basically, no.
It's not gonna get done.
Not gonna find another auditor at this point in time.
No.
Right.
And based on what I see on the listservs, auditors are becoming fewer and further between, so it's becoming a real issue and not just North Carolina, all over the country as municipal auditors are getting out of doing municipal audits. Requirements have ratcheted up so much for what they have to do.
So what we do next year, we try to get back on that track where.
Yeah, and we've typically met that deadline. I think we had some issues in 2020 as the pandemic set in. And there were health issues with one or both of our auditors' families that delayed it. I don't think we were as late as we will be this year, but last year we were on time.
Approved next year's contract.
It'd be this coming spring. Only because we need to get the scheduling down for September.
Generally small companies or like just individuals, is that why that is an extenuating circumstance? Or you just assigned to us?
I mean, no, I mean. They're corporate entities, but it's 1, 2, 3 people type firms. And then they may have some support staff that help, but. Ezekiel,
The accountants for the town, the one that's, her husband passed away, that is Stout, Stewart, McGovern and King, and it's Patricia. So Patricia does she does the workload. And she comes into the office and she gets all the information together. Patricia then passes it over to the auditor, which is Becky Lloyd with Cobb Ezekiel Lloyd. So it kind of stopped with Patricia. Her husband was sick. He's been sick for a very long time. And he was probably the last 2 months at Duke.
This won't have any ramification with state.
no. I mean, they have towns that they haven't got the 21 audit from yet, so that's when you're in trouble with them. As long as we're notifying them, and I verbally notified them that, this is happening, this is the situation we're in, they said, yep. Just let us know when you make it formal.
So you say, the mayor signed a form to let the LGC know that it is coming late. So, and that is from the auditor. Just to let them know, hey, for this reason.
So I have a motion and a second to approve the amended contract. All in favor, say aye. Gary?
Our condolences to Patricia.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Moving on to reports, town manager.
All right, just so everybody is aware and knows what's happening ahead of time. Christmas holidays are coming soon.
I near you.
As has been the town's practice on the day before the holiday, we're having an all staff Christmas luncheon. That'll take place up at Station 18. You folks are invited.
On the 23rd,
22nd, Thursday.
Thursday, the 22nd.
Yep. And as I said, based on longstanding practice following that luncheon, we close the offices and send everybody home, clean up. The holiday is Friday, Monday, Tuesday, based on our policies. Offices also be closed on Monday, January 2nd. That's for New Year's. Both the holidays fall on Sunday this year. We've obviously seen inflation over the last several years. Seen ARPA money federal relief money coming in the pandemic. It was originally sent out for infrastructure improvement, and then they made some changes that allowed you to recoup missed revenue. Like I said, revenue, then you can spend the money however you want it, kind of a thing. And what we've seen over the last 2 years, a lot of local governments have used some of that money, put that into employee wages. In not insignificant amounts of money, 5, 6, 7% kind of lump sums. So whereas in 2017, 2018, last did a wage analysis, wide scale changes to our wages, which in a lot of parts put us on the higher end of local wages. We have found that we have slipped down, certainly in some categories, specifically in our police department. Whereas we were one of the highest paid police departments 4 or 5 years ago, we're now one of the lowest paid police departments. So really what I'm letting you know is using the existing funding due to vacancies, some of which were exacerbated by people leaving and going to other communities in Alamance County. We're administratively increasing our pay within our existing budget for police officers right away. The second piece to that is that I had charged our HR person to do a salary survey, all municipal positions for the town. The next month or so, and then that will be reflected whole or in part in proposals for the coming year. I will, and I know we talked a little bit about this in our retreat. We are, as a local government, we are nothing without our employees. And the service provision business. And if we don't have conscientious employees providing good services, they're not doing their jobs. And we have, by all accounts, from what I hear from the past, what I hear from residents today, complaints, but we have a phenomenal crew who works for the town of Elon. It's exceptional service to our residents. And we obviously want to maintain that. Do that, we need to be competitive. I won't say we're gonna be at the top of the heap. I don't know if we can afford to be at the top of the heap. We need to be competitive, and in many areas appears we have fallen short of that. So we will do the wage survey and we'll bring results back to you folks when they're done, so we can start talking about next year's budget, 2-year plan, get back up. That will be what the numbers look like. So I wanted to let you know about those 2 things. You all know we received a grant from the NCDOT to develop a multimodal plan for Elon, and transit focused. And that process will be kicking off. DOT is actually leading the process, so they're going to do the plan. They're looking to us to pay for it, to at least our portion of it, and provide a steering committee. And we've put out feelers to people who have expressed interest in the past. And we need 2 things from you folks. One, who from the board is going to be sitting on that. And 2, you can use your connections with people to ride bikes a lot, who walk, who have contacted you about transit. Any of those areas, we're looking for residents to be on this committee. I think we have 1 that's applied so far. Several folks, the planning board, who want to be on it. So they're, I think downtown has a position on it. But Plain Jane residents who are not on boards or committees, have 1 who's expressed an interest. It's actually,
We have 3. We had 2 apply today, and that was in my email to the board earlier today. So we are up to 3. The 1 who expressed an interest would submit. So I'm very excited about our current applicant.
I sent a reminder. A few people had already talked to about it.
So anyway, that was a plea to you folks to encourage people to contact us. And busy week in Elon. Tomorrow evening, 6:30 till 8 is the Town University Festival of Lights and Luminaries. Friday night is Christmas in the Park. Beth Schmidt from 6 until when it's over. I left out the until when. And Saturday evening is Hometown Christmas downtown, tree lighting, other festivities and activities. Different from years past, so that's from maybe 5 to 7. Just want to make sure everybody's aware of all those coming up. I will not be seeing you because I will be out of town this weekend. I have to fly to Wisconsin Friday for a weekend family wedding, so I'll be seeing all those. See you around tomorrow night.
I've missed this. I've seen plenty of flyers up or the banners when you go down the street for the Christmas and Beth Schmidt, but I haven't seen anything for downtown and if I've missed that, I mean,
Small signs.
they're small signs, okay, because I would love to see a big,
There's the banner on the fence by the tree where the.
okay. So I walk right past it, missed it then. I just was trying to I just want as many people to come and enjoy it as possible.
Yesterday during the rain, it had blown up and over, so you.
Okay, all right.
At least with the timing, will we be doing a call? Remind people?
We should.
Yeah, we would.
And something I would love to see us go back and do, Rich, something I'd love to see is have a human voice share that message.
We can do that.
It just seems
I
so
can do that.
personal. Let Siri or whoever does that.
We can certainly
Yeah, I
do
can-
that.
I can do that.
The mayor could do that.
Do it. Just tell me when. All right, moving on, Stephanie.
Sorry. I didn't get a job. I just was really thrilled and sent out an email, really too late at night. Got a little philosophical there in my email, but the whole point was I really appreciated everybody's work on our retreat. All the different departments bring so much, as Rich was saying to us, and so all your hard work is so appreciated, and I hope you know that, and want to let you know that we wish, or I wish that we could give everything that we possibly could to everybody this year, certainly deserving of it, so are our citizens, but unfortunately, we can't do that, but we can give you our gratitude, and so you definitely have that.
Not much. Thanks to staff. I appreciate it. I would shout out again to Chief Massey for getting his fire truck as the list. Taking number 3 out. That's on number 1. See everybody this weekend. I'll be there tomorrow night. Look forward to seeing Dr. Stein, Caroline.
I look forward to that too.
Used to me.
We'll sing Hanukkah, the menorah. There we go.
That's on the 18th.
Yes, very
Thank you.
good, very good.
Menorah lighting's on the 18th.
To echo some of the spirit of the season, the Elon Community Church has historically done in concert with the Truett Center at the university, a Moravian love feast, or a love feast in the Moravian style. Many people sometimes look at that and think, well, we're not Moravians, but it's what makes it beautiful is that anybody can come and drink some coffee and have a roll. It's not Eucharistic. It has no limitations, and that's why I think it's one of the best things that we've ever done. And it's a great music event, and that will take place on Sunday as well. So just let you know that.
At the church,
It's at the church.
and what time?
12 o'clock. And it's open to the university community, the church, and the whole community. So we want it to be an ecumenical event. The assistant chaplain, Julie Tonneson, is going to be the preacher for the night, and just very looking forward to it. So that's been a big thing every year. A lot of people have said it gets them in the Christmas spirit. And of course, there's concerts going on at the university. just a lot of good things happening this coming week and week and a half. So I just hope that we'll remember that. There will be, some work done in our green space at the church, starting sometime in December. I just told Jill, though, that we thought it was gonna start this week, but because of the rain that's coming Wednesday, they did not want to get it started yet. And, so it'll probably be happening in the month of December. And the attempt there is to really work hard to get ready for that green space to really be improved for when the plaza is built and some things like that in terms of a partnership. So just want to let you know that if you see equipment out there, that's what's going to be happening. So that's not, there's no trip hazards in the green space and all of those kinds of things. So it's going to be smoothed out and grass planted and everything like that. I think that's all I've really got for now. Just, I thought it was a very good retreat, and I just wanted to tip my hat to all the department heads. And you really went to bat by really giving us your top priorities, and I think that was really helpful, and it's given us some ideas for vision, and I'm excited about.
Yeah, it's just, a lot of this has already been said, but I do appreciate the staff and what we brought to the retreat was very important, was heard. I think we realized we're never gonna move forward if we keep doing the status quo. And I think we have to think outside the box, and many times, as the mayor said, there's opportunities we leave on the table with family that we can use to help enhance our community. At the end of the day, we have to be accountable to the taxpayers. So we have to be good stewards and be responsible in how we spend money. And just like you said, we gotta have a fire truck. You know, that's not something anybody really wants to do. We have to do that, just like for the infrastructure. With that being said, that doesn't mean we forget the things with, like said, a piece of property on the shelf for 20 years with no plan or vision. And that's that's unfortunate, because as a board, we need to be mindful of that. That was a piece of capital that we just set on the side, and maybe we should have started 10 years ago. But anyway, we're here now, and I think there's opportunities that lie ahead. So we just need to charge forward. Do it in an intelligent way, not just react.
Yeah, the timing of this meeting or the retreat was very good. I mean, we typically have it, right at the beginning of budget season. And so I thought this was a really good idea to have that. So we really have a couple retreats, and this one, thought we got a lot of work done that, will help us towards the second one and the budgeting process. And I look forward to all the Christmas events this week. I'll be participating. So that's all for me.
Just so no one gets too excited, we will be adjourning this meeting to open up the work session shortly. So when I call for an adjournment, just so you know. Unfortunately, I cannot make the staff luncheon on the 22nd. So my mom and I just booked tickets to go to New York to see the Music Man and the Rockettes. So I will miss it, unfortunately, because I always enjoy it. So I'll be sure to make something to
We
send.
can Zoom you in if you like.
That's fine.
I'd rather vice versa. Let's zoom into her.
Looking forward to all the events this weekend. Lila Kate Sharp is most looking forward to the events since I have told her that she could she's very excited. Next year, I would like for us to work together for both the park and downtown tree lighting to have a contest for either a resident or an Elon Elementary student to light the tree, so we can come up with something, I don't know, a color contest, an essay contest. Because as much as I love my child, it's not about her. So I think whatever we can do to promote whatever we're trying to promote, if it's, service to the community or whatever, I think that would be a good opportunity for next year. That is all. So do I have a motion to adjourn our regular meeting?
So moved.
A second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right? Adjourned. Do we need a brief reset before we move on? Or are we good? Okay. All right, let's get the work session party started. Rich, on the agenda, you have the